So Derby Day, it's the race day for purists, and 90,000 plus of them turned up at Flemington yesterday. And well, with 9 Group 1s or 9 group races on the day, what's not to like? One of those was the Wakeful Stakes featuring Very Elegant. We were wondering whether she could back up after an impressive win at Caulfield last start. And as we see them jump, Bruce, it was just that case of Very Elegant being her own worst enemy again.
Yeah, deja vu.
Although it looked all right early on, but as the race panned on.
Yeah, as they jumped away, she seemed okay. She's in those reddy pink colours drifting back in the field, but once again, the tempo is quite good through the first 200-300 metres, but when they steadied about halfway, she starts this habit of firing her head and she just doesn't settle and switch off. So that has to be a concern going into an Oaks at 2,500 metres where they generally don't go a lot of tempo. Sizzle Me in front controls the tempo, starts slowing it down after getting to the front, sets up shop at the head of affairs there. Aristia, the eventual winners, in a great spot, 1 out, 1 back in the blue and yellow. Quafila, the second place horse, is in the Shadwell colours, the blue, right behind the leader on the fence. So it's a little bit on pace, and that's given the way the tempo's slack. Look at Very Elegant back in the field there, about third last, still ahead up, hasn't settled. I think her run's really good because, once again, the way with all the extra exertion she's putting into the race and not settling, she finishes off okay, and it develops very much into an on-pace affair as Sizzle Me gets another cheap sectional coming around the corner here. She's way up the back. Now she's exposed 3 wide and only just now really settling, so she's a really good filly, Mike.
Look, the horses who finished at the top end of the field are more or less the same horses she beat in the Ethereal. So it's not about class, we know that, and we see her coming to the outside, and she's trying very hard, and to be perfectly honest, John doesn't go behind the saddle too much. So he realises he can't win by this stage.
Aristia's still on the bridle, she's done no work, and she's there to challenge at the 200 metres. Quafila missed the run on the inside. What I did note though is you look at these, the first 3 home out of this race, normally the best form guide for the Oaks. You've got a Aristia by Lonhro, you've got a Not a Single Doubt and Unlucky second, and an I Love This City leading and running third. It's not the kind of breeding that's telling you 2,500 metres.
I've been paying specific attention to this bunch of horses because we had a horse obviously who was in the same races in the Ethereal when she injured a fetlock and therefore she's had to come home. And it's not a very strong bunch. Like Very Elegant is the most talented of them, but a lot of them aren't bred. With the Oaks, and what I'm just learning about this, and with the Oaks and the Derby, a lot of it's not about talent, it's about strength. 2 sorts. Physical strength, can you get there in one piece? And secondly, mental strength, can you cop the work you need to get there and the racing to get there? And a lot of the times, that's what it comes down to. Very Elegant's going to go. So after the race, they thought she may not go, and then Darren Ware said she will go to the Oaks. The problem might be, we'll hear from this in a second, is that might have taken the sting out of her a touch and allow her to settle maybe a bit more. But she's quite a light-framed filly, and it comes back to that strength thing. Is she going to eat up this morning, be happy in the next couple of days, and get to those races? I think the horse who's the big winner out of yesterday is the horse who wasn't there. Collectible ran 4th in the Ethereal and was very good. And she wasn't there, and I'm thinking she might be the horse who turns up on Thursday and does a good job. But here is Darren Ware, a little bit circumspect about the whole Very Elegant thing.
My first reaction is that she doesn't help herself. She gallops, got a very high head carriage, makes it very hard on herself, I guess, and very hard for the jockey. I thought it was still a good enough run to push on to the Oaks on Thursday. Obviously, she got into a position where she couldn't win the race. So John probably, although he asked her to extend, but probably wasn't as hard on her as what we normally would be. So hopefully she has a good 4 days and can draw a barrier and just race a bit more attractable in the Oaks.
We've just seen the running of the Lexus as well. What was your thoughts on Yogi's run?
Yeah, Yogi just makes it too hard on himself. He just gets too far back. He's just got no early speed, and the track would be just too firm for him today. He still ran a respectable race, but I need to rethink what we do with him, I think.
Yeah, he's still in New Zealand Cup nominations. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, the owners are still a bit keen to sort of put a bit of thought into it, so it's certainly still a possibility for sure.
He certainly shortened on the New Zealand Cup markets, Yogi. And speaking of the Lexus, which was the race that Yogi was in yesterday with a start in the Cup guaranteed, you want the photo finish links in operation, and they didn't have it for the, 10 minutes over start time, but they finally sort of kicked in after a delay, and Michael Walker was the man who was smiling at the camera in the end as we picked them up about halfway, Bruce, here in the Group 3 race.
Yeah, Michael Walker, another Kiwi rider in the Cup on Tuesday after this, in a great spot, fourth in the predominantly blue colours. Not a great deal to report out of the race. Former Derby place getter Rising Red. Ladies first, she's gone great, hasn't she? She's back third to last in the race. Let's have a look at the last. So they've come home a 2,500 metre race, the last 600 off the front in 34.2. So from her coming from nearly last in the corner, she doesn't get a great run into the race, ladies first, in those red and white colours. She's gone really good.
She's gone super, and initially I thought they might go to the Queen Elizabeth or the Zipping, which used to be the Sandown Classic, but reports are she's going to come home. So it's going to be tricky for her at home now, because she'll get to a decent place in the weights if she goes to any of the handicap races. But Michael Walker now obviously is on a proper chance. It's $17, but it's still, when you can hand so short in the market, it's a proper chance. But this is also form where this horse raced Yucatan in the Herbert Power and got thrashed.
Yeah,
so
I can't see him turning around.
It's hard to take this race overly seriously. There's Ladies First, the Auckland Cup winner, in behind in those kind of cool red and white colours, and I thought she was really good, Bruce. And
the last 100 metres.
on this, you would suggest Ellen's probably going to need to find weight for age racing for her at some stage, but they are talking about going back to Sydney in the autumn. So I thought she might hang around for an extra race, and I wouldn't be surprised if they changed their mind. But at least it was something out of the carnival for her. Like, she was going forward rather than backwards. Yep. And when you talk about the carnival, New Zealand's had, as best I can work it out, New Zealand trained horses have had one win in the entire Melbourne Spring, and that was Botti in a minor race. Can you think of another one? I mean, trained, and I know Mike Moroney is a New Zealand trainer, but he doesn't train here per se. Botti won a minor race, and we, on the carnival days, I don't think I've won a race.
But then again, you see Soul Impact there. Japanese horses have been dreadful this spring.
But we're sending our best ones, they're not sending their best ones, are they?
True.
Which is, and it's not that our horses clearly aren't good enough. I've discussed this with a lot of people within the last couple of weeks. I said, what do you make of this? And everybody has the same answer. We're selling all your good mares, and you're selling all your good horses. And take Very Elegant. Very Elegant's a New Zealand trained horse 6 weeks ago, and then you get offered that sort of money, and now she's an Australian trained horse.
They need a wee bit of damp, the New Zealand horses. Like, if it poured on Melbourne Cup Day, for example, we might be a shot. Not necessarily
Probably not going to hurt the Europeans, though, either.
Yeah, in that race, but in terms of the carnival...
Noah's Ark could be going straight down the straight on Melbourne Cup Day, and we're still not a chance.
Yeah. I thought that Very Elegant was the sort of horse that needed a wee bit of sting out of the ground too.
But the bottom line is, we're just selling all these good horses.
Yeah.
Very few people can afford to keep them. When you get offered $800,000 for a horse, how many normal New Zealanders can say, we'll keep them?
Yeah.
And we have lost a couple. We lost Bonnevale along the way, and the John Snows and that sort of stuff. But it's been the most sparse spring I can remember in, say, 25 years of watching them.
Is it just a glitch, though? Is it just, okay, we've had a bad year?
If you keep selling all your good brood mares, and that's what's so good that Waikato retained Bonnevale, but if you keep selling all your good brood mares, like Vegas Showgirls in Japan, King's Roses in Japan, Very Elegant is now going to be bred from, almost certainly, I would suggest, in Australia at some stage. She's not going to come home, because by the time she retires, Savabeel might be retired. And then what stallion in New Zealand would you feel comfortable putting a horse you paid $800,000 to? And that's the problem right there.
I don't know. We're not breeding them, are we? We're not really breeding them.
No, we're breeding them. We're just selling them.
Yeah, well, this is something that Mike Baroni was talking about ages ago. He was saying, look, we're not breeding... and we talked about this briefly last week. It's like, what we're breeding for the current market.
You've got to breed for the market. You can't
Asia,
breed horses nobody wants to buy.
We've still got look, all the horses. You think of all the horses we sell as 3-year-olds unraced to Hong Kong, or get to rating 70 and you sell them. What would they be if they stayed? And that's another question. But again, Bonnevale showed last year when she beat Hartnell, we can still win at these carnivals, but it just gets harder and harder every time you sell a horse. That's one less horse you have to race. And Very Elegant's the best example of that.
Shillelagh, it wasn't sold, but relocates, obviously for prize money.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, just put it down to a bad year, hopefully.
Does it change your attitude to the carnival? Like, is the carnival less or lesser to you because we're not winning races?
It's just super racing. The Derby yesterday, it didn't feature many New Zealand bred colts, did it?
Mick could keep his clothes on too.
Yeah, I could have been in trouble here. I've never seen a bigger con job than them putting up 2.8, thinking big, and then Gay telling people it's going to start in the Melbourne Cup. So I said, if it starts in the Melbourne Cup, I will go to Ellerslie naked on Tuesday.
Wouldn't be good for Chris.
But no, it wouldn't be good for anybody involved. But seriously, this was just the most nonsensical favourite in Derby history.
So how do you read its performance yesterday?
It just isn't that good.
Right, well,
it went a middle.
won at Caulfield,
It went a middle 400 metres at Caulfield in 27.8 seconds.
Yeah, but it beat them by half a dozen lengths, didn't it?
But no, mate, honestly, it was a junk race. I was happy to say it on Friday. It didn't change afterwards. It had a perfect run and ran 10th.
So is this a
It was a brutal race, absolutely brutal. On-pace horses had no chance. It set up for Extra Brute and horses out that Chapada in those purple colours, a tragedy. He would have been fighting out the finish with Extra Brute if he got clear at the right time, because he would have got first run on Extra Brute as well. And after being blocked and losing all his momentum in about 8th, he's worked home to 3rd. Extra Brute, though, recently purchased by the stud farm Aquis, or a portion thereof, and wins nicely over Star of Carol.
Arameo was super. The Godolphin horse, 3 wide the trip.
Silky Oak was a wee bit
He's a
unlucky
proper
too.
horse.
Silky Oak was a wee bit unlucky too. Yeah. Didn't sort of get clear air when it needed to, but of course the third was the
At least we don't
road
have to put up with this nonsense that Thinking Big was going to the Melbourne Cup. When the media starts reporting that stuff there, they should find other jobs. That was just rubbish.